Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Friday, and all of today's guests, including Thomas Drance from The Athletic, standing by, brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. Looking for a midweek escape close to home? BC residents save 15% on weekday stays at the Bayside Oceanfront Resort at Parksville. Relax by the ocean, enjoy some great dining, and unwind with island hospitality. Book now at BaysideResortParksville.com. As we bring in Thomas Drance from The Athletic on this Friday. Thomas, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Gentlemen, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Lovely. Very, very well. Canucks over Colorado 4-1 as the season winds down. We've been talking about this all day. I thought, and I think Rick agrees with me, the story of the game, Elias Pettersson and that fight as he shows yet another element to his game. How impressed have you been with Junior, EP25, whatever you want to call him?
Very impressed. And dating back to, the first time I saw him at like development camp scrimmages 2 years ago, 2 summers ago. I mean, this is a very impressive young player who's been on like an exponential development curve and riding it. It's not just the fact that he's a brick house as a human being, as we saw again in that fight. I didn't think he just held his own. I thought he looked more physically imposing than that. And it's not just some of the authority that he can play with defensively. There was a really nice sequence from him in the game in Dallas, for example, where he sort of gathered the puck behind the net, skated it out of trouble away from the forechecker. Canucks had a partial change going on, curled back, just like completely calmed it down. Wasn't a dynamic breakout, but was just exactly the sort of thing you want to see from a defensive defenseman. I mean, he's got speed, like hidden speed, way more speed than I think we'd realized. And honestly, one thing that really impresses me from a young defender, and you can see it often. I mean, right there, that clip right there.
Yeah, love it.
The back check's amazing, but also it's that he is never the guy getting caught on those pinches. Have you noticed that? When he comes back, when he sort of goes down the wall, like how many times have you seen him be the guy get caught? And it's one of his defense partners scrambling to defend the 2-on-1. Like, I mean, I suppose in that clip he is back checking, but it's because of what happened elsewhere. Like his ability, I think, to contribute offensively too is perhaps, more advanced than I'd expected it to be as he broke into the NHL. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a guy with a pretty unique profile. Really hard to find like defensive, physical defenders in the NHL. Especially those with the pace to actually play the contemporary style of game. He's got it in spades, and I think he's got more offensive touch and more offensive upside than perhaps we'd expected. Of this sort of group of like auditioning young players, the Linus Karlsson, Atu Ratu sort of group that we're watching play down the stretch, I think he stands head and shoulders above the rest as a player that's really cemented himself as a piece for Canucks fans to be optimistic about, I think, going forward.
Are you saying that you called this a development camp two years
ago?
No. I don't remember that.
I'm saying he was impressive to me at development camp 2 years ago. I do think I talked about it on your show, though. I spotlighted him then. I just thought there was stuff to like. I'll find the clip. But no, I'm not pretending. I'm not patting my back here at all. I'm just saying, I've been consistently impressed with what we've seen from him, and I think especially of late.
I think Rick called it. Hey, what do you make of Brock Besser saying it's unlikely at this point regarding staying with the Canucks, Thomas?
Well, I think he's putting voice to something we already knew.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a door closed by any means. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to, have a report from Rick in the next 5 weeks, for example, that talks have restarted, or that the Canucks are making a push, right? I mean, there's a lot of time between now and July 1. For things to change, but I do think the dynamic of this is set and has been set for a while. There is a fundamental disagreement on price between the two sides. There was prior to the NHL trade deadline. The club couldn't get what they felt was an acceptable offer for Besser. They decided to keep him. But I think that fundamental disagreement on price remains. Besser's never been a UFA. It's pretty rare that we hear a player, sort of cast doubt on any team's ability to sign them, much less their current team. So certainly the commentary that Besser dropped to Ian McIntyre caught my attention in a major way. And, I do think it speaks to probably his level of disappointment, right? That things have unfolded in this fashion. But I'm sort of not taking it to the bank as like Besser is gone, right? I think we always knew that it was unlikely, right? Honestly, it's unlikely. Honestly, we've known that, right? So I don't know that it changes anything, but I'm sure it does for fans, right? I'm sure it creates a sense of what's probably coming down the pike. But I think that was already baked in based on the posture that both sides have been in for months now, all season.
Thomas, what about Quinn Hughes this week coming out and praising the coach? That's going to put pressure on management and ownership to sign this guy when your star player says, I love the coach.
Well, here's how I'm thinking about this, Rick, and you guys let me know if you agree. But given how this season has gone, given the fact that the team didn't sell at the deadline and then missed and will probably miss by a fairly comfortable margin, given all the drama, all the sort of backroom dysfunction that characterized this season, isn't there already pressure on management to at least project some stability behind the bench, like to get this done relatively drama-free, no more leaks, no more nonsense? This is your coach. You want him back. Figure out a way to get it done and figure out a way to get it done quickly. I think that matters, right? I think in terms of just sort of going into this offseason and beginning to rebuild some organizational credibility in the market, given how this season has unfolded, getting Verlander done and down in the American League, having the American League team, have some playoff success, getting Tocchet done, no muss, no fuss. Those are three easy ways for this organization to build some positive momentum and some goodwill going into the offseason. And I think they should prioritize making sure all three happen quickly, quietly, and in an efficient sort of way, just so they can start the offseason up on the right foot. What do you gentlemen think about that?
Yeah, for sure. It'd be a goodwill thing. But Tocchet's not going to be easy. He's asking for a big raise. We're presuming they've made him an offer, Thomas, and he rejected it. So that tells me, just like Besser, there's a way to go in contract negotiations.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're talking about non-cap staff personnel, right? Like, it's not like the deal you signed Tocchet to sort of ties your hands anywhere, right? Coach who's won the Jack Adams, second winningest coach in franchise history. Most of these guys, fall between like 3.9 and 5.5 million, right? I mean, it's not like we're talking about a $3 million gap here, Rick, right? We're talking about the amount that you'll pay your two highest paid players in the American League next season. I mean, this is rounding error stuff for a hockey club, given sort of the payroll. I get it. The USD thing, the coming sort of uncertainty with the trade war, on and on. I mean, I understand reasons that a hockey team would be, especially based in Canada, would be sort of careful here. But again, what's the benefit to this franchise of having stability, of having the coach that Quinn Hughes just vociferously endorsed locked up, who's had a run of success in Vancouver, who is management's guy, handpicked and remains a guy who has the confidence management? I mean, you're really going to drag it out and have sort of drama enter the scenario over $500K a year times 3 or times 4. I mean, what are we talking about? It's not enough of a gap, in my opinion, and the stakes couldn't possibly be high enough for the organization to really drag this one out. At least that's how I see it. I think it would be regrettable and an error if this became complicated.
Thomas, I don't know if you probably did watch our show. You always do. But yesterday, big argument.
Always.
If he's healthy and he gets an invite, should Elias Pettersson, EP40, play for Sweden at the World Championships a month from now?
Yeah, you know what? I'm perfectly okay with it if he does. If he's healthy and he wants to play, it's in Sweden, so it's not like it's inconvenient for him if he's spending his off season there. And, we saw this with Tyler Myers a couple of years ago. Remember, Tyler Myers had one of his worst Canucks seasons under sort of that like Boudreau Tocchet, the year that Bruce Boudreau got fired. And he went and he won gold with Team Canada, like that team that had Troy Stetcher on it and stuff, right? At the World Championships. And then you go into the offseason feeling good about your game, having built some confidence. I mean, I don't have a problem with that at all. I think that can work especially for a player who might have, something of a bad taste in their mouth based on how the season went, or the idea that, a player didn't perform to the level that they usually do during the regular season, but can use the World Championships as like a launching pad to have an off season in which your, confidence spikes and you have some good feeling coming out of a disappointing hockey season. I have no problem with that if he is healthy and able to play. Now, I'm sure I don't know enough about what injury he's going through right now or what happened this season that caused him to, cover less ground as a skater, cover that ground more slowly as a skater, shoot at a lower velocity, maintain a lower pace throughout games. So, I don't know if rest is what he needs. I don't have a good enough sense of it to speak beyond sort of the generalities of lessons we've seen from NHL players past. But certainly we've seen guys coming off of disappointing campaigns, go to the Worlds, have sort of a good end to their season, and go into a long summer feeling good about themselves. I have no problem with a player who struggled over the course of the season pursuing that route, even if I sort of lack the intricate details about exactly what Pettersson's working through to sort of speak on it beyond that.
You agree with me, so you can come back next week. It's official. Thanks for this, Thomas.
Yes, let's go. Have a good weekend, boys.
You bet.
Adios.